right, boys and girls, today we are talking about number lines, and we're also working with them pretty intensively. So you should have already watched the Khan Academy videos. If you haven't, make sure to do that before watching this video. Now that we're here, I want you to go ahead and turn to page 299, and you're going to do some problems together with me so that you understand how to do it, okay? Again, page 299. Go ahead and pause the video and open up to that page so that you're ready, and then play the video once you're there. All right, so right here we have on the very top of our page, it says, the number line below shows the fourths between 0 and 1. Discuss how the number line is like and unlike the fraction bar above it. So we're pretty used to seeing something like this. This is like a fraction bar that we usually use to represent a fraction, and if we have 1/4, we usually fill it in. That's called the fraction bar, and then right here below it is a fraction number line, okay? And so here we have 0, or that can be represented as 0/4, 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, and 4/4, which is also represented as 1, because 4/4 is equivalent to 1. So one way that we can say they're alike is that they both represent fractions going vertically. So if we were to fill all of these we were to fill this fraction bar, we could say, oh, 2 of these are filled in. That is the same as 2/4, which is at the same point as this fraction line. So they're both shown vertically. One difference that they have is that this fraction bar shows more of like how much is being used in a fraction, right? We fill it in. Whereas the number line, we don't usually fill in the space between each of the fourths, right? We just represent it by a point right here. We put a line and we say that's the end of 1/4. And over here we put a line and we say that is where 2/4 would be. 3/4, and then that's 1. So they're represented a bit differently. Again, the guy in the video kind of represented, he didn't draw a vertical box like this, he drew a circle. Okay, and these two are similar in the way that you have to fill in fractions. Okay, this one you don't have to fill in anything, it's just a number line. So down here we have 3 number lines, and I want to kind of explain to you. They look really in depth, don't they? So this first number line right here, it starts with 0. And now it has numbers on the top and numbers on the bottom. And if you can see, these are the same, but these look different. These look different. So on the top, that is just counting up by fractions. And as you see, as we keep moving up, those are improper fractions on the top. And below is the equivalent mixed number. It's the same thing, just written in mixed number form, okay? Or whole number form. So here we can count on the top. We can say, oh, this is 0, halves, 1/2. See how it's between 0 and 1? That's 1/2, 1. Oh, sorry, I'm counting by like the bottom. So I'm counting the bottom part. 0, 1/2, 1, 1 and 1/2, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4. What would this be? 4.5 and 5. It's counting up by halves. Now you can represent the same thing on the top. It's counting up by halves, just in fraction form. 0 halves, 1/2, 2 halves, 3 halves, 4 halves, which is equivalent to 2, 5 halves, 6 halves, 7 halves, 8 halves. This up here would be 9 halves. Okay, now this fraction bar below it, so we can call this maybe number line A, and this is going to be number line B. Number line B is a bit different than number line A because number line A counts up by halves, whereas if you look at the denominator, number line B counts up by fourths. Okay, so we're going to look at the bottom part right here. 0, 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, and 1, which is 4/4. This one right here, what would that be? Goes 1, 1 and something, 1 and 2/4, 1 and 3/4, and 4/4. 2 and 1/4, 2 and 2/4, 2 and blank fourths, and 3. So I think the bottom in this case might be a little difficult to do first, so I'm going to do the top. I'm going to count up by 0/4, 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4. This right here would be 5/4, 6/4, 7/4, 8/4, 9/4, 10/4, 11/4, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. This would be 17/4, 18, 19, 20, and we're done. So what we need to do is we need to figure out what is 5/4 in mixed number form. Well, if you did the division, if you said 5 divided by 4 and everything, you would figure out, oh, it is 1 and 1/4. And that completes the pattern here. We have 1 and 1/4, 1 and 2/4, 1 and 3/4, and 2. So if we just cover up the whole number, we have 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, and this would be 4/4. Again, it goes in a pattern. 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 1. 1 and 1/4, 1 and 2/4, 1 and 3/4, 2. 2 and 1/4, 2 and 2/4, 2 and 3/4, and 3. 3 and 1/4, 3 and 2/4, 3 and 3/4, and 4. This would be 4 and 1/4, 4 and 2/4, 4 and 3/4, and 5. Okay. And now for number line C, I'm going to look, oh, got blurry for a second there. For number line C, we have, the denominator is 8. So our spaces that we're going to break up are 8ths. So right here we have 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So each one of these lines right here represents an 8th. So this would be 1/8, 2/8, 3/8. This one's already labeled 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, and 8/8. Do we see that? Now it'd be the same thing on the bottom. 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, and this right here is 1, or it's also 8/8. Now we could keep going, and we would say that this is 9/8, 10/8, 11/8, and 12/8, right? Well, written in the mixed number, that would just be 1. This would be 1 and 1/8. 10/8 would be 1 and 2/8. 11/8 would be 1 and 3/8. 12/8 is 1 and 4/8. Okay, so it just goes along. These up here are equivalent to what's on the bottom. The bottom is just written when it gets past 1 as a mixed number. And on the top, these are just written as fractions, and then once it gets past 1, it's an improper fraction, okay? So these number lines right here are to just kind of introduce you to what they would look like. And number lines are really helpful because they really can help you with comparing fractions. Now, on these fractions, number 1 through 4, it says to make the comparison symbols to make each statement true. So which one is bigger, 3/4 or 5/2? Well, if we can't do that in our head, we can use these number lines to help us. So 3/4 would have to be this number line because this number line has fourths. So 3/4 would be right here. And on the halves, 5/2 would be over here. So which is bigger, 5/2 or 3/4? Since this one is a lot further this way to the right, 5/2 would have to be greater. So we would put the symbol there. Okay. Number 2, 15/4 or 28ths. We have fourths here and eighths here. So let's see, 15/4 would be located right here, and 28ths would be located right here. So which one is bigger? The one that's more to the right. 15/4 is bigger. Okay. Now I want you to see if you can do numbers 3 and 4 on your own, okay? Number 5 says write the fraction or mixed number for each lettered point. Now let me explain what that is. A, where is A? I'm gonna have to look at my number lines, and you see these little red letters? That is what you're gonna be looking for. So what is letter A? You would say, oh, letter A is 9/2 or 4.5. So you're gonna write 9/2 or 4.5. Those two fractions are the exact same thing. This is just written as a mixed number, and this is written as an improper fraction. And we've done that. We've had practice doing that. And you would do the same thing for B. What fraction is on B? Well, 5/4 or 1 1/4. And I do want you to write both fractions because it's a good way to remember that they're the same thing. Okay. So I want you to do the same exact thing I did with A and B on C, D, E, F, G, and H. Now I already helped you fill out most of them. You're going to have to do G and H on your own. So keep counting up, and I know you can do it. All right? So go ahead and do that on your own. And then I would like you to do this page as well. I'll go ahead and do number 6 for you. So how many equal parts between 0 and 1? So between 0 here and 1, how many parts are there? We have 1, 2, 3. So 1 would be 3/3. Since we're starting from 0, we don't count the line at 0. We start here and we count 1, 2, 3. So since there are 3 equal parts, our fraction is going to be in thirds. So how many equal parts between 0 and 1? Then write flat fraction labels above the equal parts. So I'm going to say that A is 1/3. This is going to be 2/3, and this is 3/3. That means this would be 4/3, 5/3, and 2 would be equivalent to 6/3. If you think about it, if you would do 6 divided by 3, you would get 2. Okay, we'd also have 7/3, 8/3, 9/3. So 9/3 is equivalent to 3. If you think about it, if you were to do 9 divided by 3, you would get 3. 10/3, 11/3, 12/3, same thing. 12/3 is equivalent to 4. If you divide 12 divided by 3, you would get 4. We're going to keep going up. 13/3, 14/3, 15/3. And same thing again. 15/3 is equivalent to 5. If you were to say 15 divided by 3, that would be 5. Okay. So we just did 6. 7, you're going to do the same thing. How many equal parts are between 0 and 1? Start here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 equal parts. So that means that your denominator is going to be in sixths. That's kind of hard to say. Sixths. So this one right here would be 1/6, 2/6, and so on. Okay, I want you to go ahead and do that on your own. I know you can do the rest. So same thing with 8. How many parts are between 0 and 1? Make sure to count 1 because 1 is going to be, like up here I counted 1. I said 1, 2, 3. That means it's going to be my 3/3. Up here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's going to be my 6/6 or 1. Okay? Make sure you count the 1 line. Now, you're going to do the same thing that we did on the other side. Is 4/3 greater or 7/6? You're going to be using these number lines to help you. Number line 6 has thirds. Number line 7 has sixths. And you're going to figure out what number line 8 has. It looks like it's going to have something larger than 6. And I want you to compare these numbers. Okay? Write the fraction or mixed number for each lettered point above. You're going to do the same thing you did on the other side. You see how we have the red letters right here? So A is 1/3. You're going to write A 1/3. B, right here, B is 5/3. Oh, that is an improper fraction. So what mixed number would that be? We can look up here. 1, so this would be 1 and 1/3. This would be 1 and 2/3. So 5/3 is 1, the same as 1 and 2/3. So 5/3 or 1 and 2/3. Okay, I want you to do that from A to I. I already did A and B, so I guess it's from C to I. And then I would like you to work on number 13. I'll go ahead and do letters A and B with you. So from 0 to 1, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 1 would be the same as 10/10. Okay, that means that every single line is going to be a 10th. All right. Now B says, where is 7/10? We just have to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So right here, we would label as B, 7/10. Now, A is a bit tricky because A is saying fifths. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but if you look on your number line, some of the lines are smaller than other lines. That is because we can, if you think about 5 and 10, 5 is half of 10. So every 2 lines, we have a big one. See that? And that is expressed with fifths. So right here we have 0. Over here we have 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, and 5/5. I know it's a little tricky. We can only do that on this number line because fifths are every other 10th. You know, that's a little bit tricky. And if you're having a hard time with this, make sure to ask your parents. They might be able to help you. So again, every single line, that's a 10th. But every other line is going to be a 5th. Because 1/5 are twice as big as 10ths. Okay, so this right here, since it's a bigger line, would be a 1/5. And then not this one, but the next one would be 2/5. Not this one, but the next one would be 3/5, and so on. Okay? See if you can do C through H on your own, okay? You've got this. I know it's tricky, but you can do it. Once you're done with this practice page, I want you to go ahead and go back to the Google Slides, and you are going to do the activity on Mastery Connect to show me how well you're doing on this, okay? Good luck.